everybody. Welcome to the table. My name is Betsy.
And I'm Michelle.
We are together in person.
Together. Betsy almost cried.
I kind of did cry. It got really water. Okay, I was not expecting that to happen. You walked to the door, and I was like, "Oh, my friend Michelle is here." And then I started crying, and because you were also hugging me really tight.
It was the best hug.
It was the weirdest thing. I don't know what came over me. I was not expecting that to happen, but here we are.
That's what happens when you're friends. You just love each other, and then when you can't see each other,
I know,
face to face, it's different.
It is different.
You can't see each other face to face.
Yeah,
it stinks.
Yeah, it's different.
But what have you been doing these months?
The same thing I've always been doing. Taking care of children and cleaning and cooking.
Those are good things.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I was hoping, because I saw all these, I got kind of jealous. This is so dumb. Like, there are people who are like, I'm going to paint. And like, or like crocheters I follow, like, I made 5 sweaters in this really awesome outfit. And I made a pattern and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I want to do that too. But my day is the same. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't able to do anything extra. Like, everyone's painting masterpieces and learning new skills. And I was just like,
I did not learn any new skills. If that makes you feel better.
That does.
But actually, I did hear you said that you demolished something.
Yes.
So that's fun.
That was really fun. That was the day before Mother's Day, so I count it as my Mother's Day present. We had this old shed barn. It was like bigger than a shed, but smaller than a barn. And it looked like a barn.
Shed barn.
Shed barn. Big shed. Small barn.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was like falling apart and rotting. It's like 45 years old. And we were like, we're just going to take this down. And so we got sledgehammers out. And we were beating it, and then we could see it, like, really shake every time we would hit it. Because we were going to hit out the, like, paneling on the outside first, then take the frame down, or push the frame down. And, anyways, I went inside for something, and I came back out, and Travis was like, look what I did! And he pushed it down. He just, like, shoved it hard 3 times, and it just collapsed and came down, and first of all, I'm glad. My children played on that all the time. I'm so glad nothing happened where it fell on them or anything. Uh-huh. But, so of course, we still had to, like, break it up into pieces because we were burning it. And I just took a sledgehammer to that thing, and I was like, oh, it felt so good. Like, you know, like, when people are like, I just want to break this glass and these plates, you know, whatever. Like, I always thought that was such a silly thing to do and wasteful. But, like, when I had that sledgehammer, and it was so heavy, but when you follow through and you break something, like, successfully, there's just something that was just, like, it was just awesome feeling.
Something was awakened.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, no, it's just like, back off! But, no, it was good. I told Travis, I said, can we do this every Mother's Day? Can we find something to destroy every Mother's Day?
That would be a great tradition. So your Christmas tradition is getting sushi, right?
Yeah.
And now it has to be a new Mother's Day tradition, destroying something.
Yeah, even if it's not ours. It's just like, we have to find, you have an old shed / mini barn that you need taken care of. Travis and I will beat the crap out of it for you.
Could you imagine, like, driving through town, scoping out people's backyards, and then knocking on someone's door? Hey, we can take that down for you.
Do you want us to push that down for you? We'll push it down for you. Very cheap. It's actually a gift from my wife. Free. You know, okay, so let me just tell you how bad that barn shed looked. Is the people who lived behind us were like, you guys want to tear that down? But we had never met them before. They're like, we'll help you tear it
That
down.
is funny.
And I was like, I bet our neighbors are so happy they don't have to look at this, like, run-down shed anymore. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got it all burned up. It's gone.
Something very similar happened to us. A neighbor drove by our house, and our tree was, like, growing into the road passing our house.
Oh, uh-huh.
And he asked Paul when he was outside. He said, "Hey, do you want me to cut that limb down for you?" And Paul said, "I didn't even think about it. I just said, yeah, sure."
I mean, he offered.
Yeah,
sure.
And sure enough, like 2 weeks later, he came by and he had, like, this little handsaw.
Oh, I've seen those.
And he stood in the back of his truck and saw that thing down, and Paul and I were, like, hiding in our house because we were, like, just shamed.
Pretend we're not here.
Yeah.
Shamed because you don't cut your own limbs down.
Oh, gosh.
Oh,
Yep.
that's so... But I feel like there are guys out there, maybe some women, who just, like,
Notice
love...
things.
Yeah, notice things, and then they just don't care. They like to do things. So they're just like, I'll fix that up.
Yeah.
Do you need help fixing that? Like, I'll cut that down for
That's
you.
what I'll think of that guy.
Yeah, I
Not
think
that
he
he
was
was
just-
like, what's wrong with you people? I don't want my truck to be scratched every time I drive
I think
past
I think it was just... The guy was finding something to do. I'm bored. Want me to cut your limb off? Want me to cut your arm off? I'll cut your arm off. And Paul, without thinking, sure, cut my arm off.
Sure, go ahead, why not?
Why not? I don't get it. It's coronavirus. It's gonna lose to coronavirus anyway, so. That's so stupid.
That's funny. That was a good one.
Yeah.
You're funny.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Like I told you earlier, I'm just not into Gotham City, guys. Stuck in my head from Lego movie number 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Watched so much of that movie. Paul loves that movie.
I like it better than the first one.
Yeah, I think Paul does too.
Good.
I don't really remember much of the first one except the Everything Is Awesome song.
Yeah.
But number 2 definitely has more catchy songs.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Gotham City guys, and then
The catchy song.
The catchy song.
songs when you stuck inside your head.
Yes.
Truman sings that song all the time.
It's effective.
So we listened to that soundtrack, me and the kids did, and there's a song on there. It's when they get to the, what do they call it? The Sistar system.
Star
or what-
system. Mm-hmm.
And they play this like weird song as they're like entering it. And so like I like listen to them like, this is such a weird, cool song. And so I was trying to find like more songs from that artist, and I couldn't find any. It was just that one
It was a
song.
one-off.
Yeah, and it
Wow.
was like a weird name. It's like not an American English name. That was kind of rude, but that's not what I
We're
meant.
not used to talking to people. Okay, we've been isolated for a long time. Our manners are gone.
Our filter is just in the garbage. Oh my word, that's not what I meant. Okay, anyways,
It's different.
it's different. It's such a fun, weird song. It's only it's only like a minute and a half or less than that maybe. It's just a small part. It's not even a full song. But do you ever listen to a song and you're like, this song is weird cool, and you're like try to find the artist and they all their songs are weird cool. Do you ever like weird cool stuff? I can't do this.
I do.
I can't do this.
I like weird, cool stuff. Tell me about a weird, cool band. Like, do you have something that comes to mind in the weird named band?
There's a weird, cool band that they've been around forever, and they're secular, but they're called the Flaming Lips. You ever heard of them?
Mm-mm.
I got introduced to them in high school. They've been around, I think, since like 80s or early 90s.
Wow.
And they're just weird techno, like, I mean, not really techno music, but like electronic sounds. And I haven't listened to them in so long, but like, I don't know why, but all their music was like about like aliens and robots, and had like weird, just weird sounds in them, and the guy's voice was really weird. I don't know why, but I liked them so much. I listened to them all the time in high school.
Have you ever heard of M83? They're really, I really
M83.
like them. They're pretty techno-y, kind
Uh-huh.
of. I think they would fit really good in like Stranger Things
Oh, okay.
albums.
Yeah.
They might be in there. I don't know, but
Yeah.
now I'm gonna have to look. Flaming Lips.
Yeah, if someone listens to this and they're like, their lyrics are really blah, 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 I haven't listened to them in forever.
She listens for the alien sounds.
I just want to hear them talk about aliens and robots, that's all. But, yeah, anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's actually a good segue.
Hey, there we go. I love it.
into our topic.
Let's do it.
Our topic for the day, because this is a Women of the Table reunion. Oh my gosh, what's the word? Reunion.
You couldn't think of the word reunion? Oh no.
I was trying to say reunited in some weird way.
What's the word? Reunion. Oh.
That's what I need you here for. It's the
I'll
reunion special.
I'll think of the simple words.
gosh.
You think of the complicated words. That's why
This
we're
is
a
my
good
problem.
team.
I try to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
I can't
I mean-
think of the word reunion. but that's why you're here, is to help my brain.
Reunitedized.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's a word. Reunitedizing.
The reunitedizing episode of Women at the Table.
This is so fun.
It's been really fun
so
far.
This is so fun. I'm having so much fun.
Yeah, and so we wanted to pick a really fun topic. And since Betsy really likes sci-fi, and I really like TV shows...
I really like TV shows. I don't know why it's so funny to me. I like TV. That's it. Say something interesting about you. I like to watch TV. Oh, God.
It's true. Okay. So now we know that Betsy's very interesting, more interesting for both of us, because I like TV. Anyway, there's this... Okay.
Pull it together, man.
I have so many tears out of my eyes.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Oh, okay. There's this new TV show.
We get the giggles. You guys stop.
There's a new TV show out. And it is about uploading your consciousness.
So sorry. That's not funny. I don't know why I just did that to you. That was mean.
It's about uploading your consciousness to something before you die. That's what it is.
What a fun topic.
So, we're talking about technology and maybe, like, the ethics of technology. This show, basically the premise of the show is, like, if you have a lot of money, you, right before you die, you can be taken to the hospital, and they, like, take the information from your brain. They don't really describe how that happens. It's just more like a laser type of thing.
They scan your head and it comes out.
Right. And so, this uploaded information of yourself gets into this database, and this database is like a virtual extension of life, but life better. So it's like a virtual reality heaven, pretty much. And I was like, this is so bizarre. I wouldn't recommend watching the show because it's severely inappropriate. And I basically had to fast forward through the whole third episode because I was like, just stop this mess. But I was just really interested because I was like, what does our world, what does our popular culture think of what an ideal afterlife could be or should be?
Yeah. And
just the thought of them saying that you could somehow find your own, like, data in your brain. Like, that's where your person is all in your brain. Like, it's not a spiritual being. It's like I don't even know how your brain's connected, and that's how you can take your person from your brain and translate it into data and upload it into something. Really shows that they think that everything is material. There's no immaterial. It's all data. We're run like computers, basically.
Yeah.
But it was so weird. I binge watched the whole thing.
Did you really?
Yeah, and I just tried to pick out some of, like, the big themes of it. And there's definitely, like I said, it's like an all material world, and what they try to construct as heaven, people don't like it.
Oh.
Like, they would rather be in the real world. Where things are, like, dirty, when things are imperfect, and things are, like, they like the, what's the word? Idiosyncrasies of things, and, like, the uniqueness of things, and they didn't like this, constructed heaven, which is perfect. Nothing is wrong. Like, when you pass gas, it smells like cologne. Like things like that. You know what I mean?
right.
Like just going over the board, over the top to try to make life as perfect as you could ever imagine it.
Like
no bad
nothing,
smells.
Nothing could even, the slightest bad smell doesn't even exist.
You have to pay money to get sick. People want to pay money so they can feel sick.
Oh, weird.
Right. And that's another thing about this virtual reality heaven is everything is monetized. Because obviously there's still a real world going on, and this is like a business type of thing. So people are being like, you have to pay to go to this heaven, first of all. And then you have to continue to pay month by month or whatever, and pay for each extra thing that you want.
How do you do that if you're deceased?
Like your families have to take care of it. So that means that people who don't have enough money don't get to go to this virtual reality afterlife. If they feel like they're going to die, then people, you know, who don't believe that there's a spiritual life or whatever, you know, they don't get to experience this virtual reality heaven. They just...
And so someone on the in the real world is paying for you to continue being there.
Right.
So if they stop paying, you're just like erased out of there?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't imagine that they would continue. That wasn't in the show, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you definitely have to pay for it.
So you can't really spend eternity in there because, I mean, unless like, you know,
family
generations
continues.
and generations, which I bet if you're famous and super rich, that's what would happen.
Right, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But it was just, and then it goes into that whole idea of people not wanting to suffer, and so they are uploaded into this virtual reality heaven so they don't have to endure any kind of suffering or whatever. If they get like a really bad diagnosis, then they can just be like, okay, go ahead and just take me up, you know, beam me up, because my life right here is not really worth living and miserable.
So, okay, so then, I mean, I don't know if this was addressed in the show. Someone gets cancer, and they're just like, you know, you're gonna die eventually. There's probably really low chance, or any chance at all. You have any chance of dying, low or high, let's just say. And someone could be like, I just forego everything, or all treatment, beam me up, and just cut me off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because one of the main characters, their dad has like a vape lung. Have you ever heard of vape lung?
No.
Which, it's basically like a lung disease condition that you get from vaping.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a vaping syndrome or vape lung syndrome or something like that, which is a real thing. But so he has this thing, and so his daughter works at the virtual heaven place, and she's constantly trying to get him to like go upload. So because I'm scared that you're gonna die, and then I can't see you anymore, and all this stuff. And so, yeah, that's definitely like a push.
Do they have any contact, the people in this world, with the real world? Oh, okay.
Yep. So they can do virtual reality visits and calls and stuff like that.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah. It's weird.
Okay.
It's a very strange show, but that is the foundation for why I was like, we gotta talk about this.
Yeah.
This is weird.
So when you said that to me, I was like, yeah. And I just started Googling uploading consciousness or uploading your mind or whatever. And I got onto this site that was like called uploadingyourconsciousness.com or something like that. It was, and it had all these videos and all this like content of the science behind it. And I'm not like super like sciencey person. Like, no, I want to know the nuts and bolts of things. That's not really it. But I was like, I was just watching video after video. I was like obsessed for like 2 or 3 hours with watching these YouTube videos
crazy.
At night. So I like have way too many notes about the science of it. But that's a TV show. Yeah. But this is actually a real concept like that they're working for in the real world. One of them is brain to brain consciousness. And they said there's like a movie out about this, that Ryan Reynolds is in but when someone has cancer, they know they're about to die, mega rich, smart dude. And so he, in this, whatever way they figure it out, upload his consciousness to a younger man's body. But also that guy has other things about him where he's a lot stronger and stuff too.
Is this kind of like head transplants?
It's no, it's consciousness data, like you were talking about.
Okay, so it's not even a physical.
It's not a physical thing. So I'm just gonna go down this trail really quick. I won't make it too long.
Do it.
So one of the first things they are trying to do is brain to brain. So I'm about to die, put me in a younger body.
Yeah.
And so people can like donate their bodies to science. That person is no longer living. Or don't like their family gets paid money. I don't really exactly know, but that's how it is. But they're just talking about how hard it is because of this thing called brain mapping, where they are trying to figure out how memories are made and how learning, and they know about like neurons and synapses and all of those things. There's like millions of these, and you create new synapses whenever you learn something new. But one of the things they were talking about too is that emotions, like they were tracking things like by doing an fMRI scan on people, making them watch something and then seeing like blood flow in different areas of their brain like react to it. But when they were faced with like an emotional thing, it was like kind of all haywire. So it's like it's really hard to figure out because it's a complex human brain. But there's in these videos they're saying 10 to 15 years. Or like anywhere from like 10 to 30 years is what most of these videos were saying. But then then there's the one that you were talking about, the movie or this TV show, translating your consciousness to data and sending you up into some sort of cloud sort of thing where you can live forever in an environment and learn new things. And they said that you could even do this while you're still alive. So go ahead and do that, upload what you have now, like as a younger person, and then you can like, that's just bizarre to me because you still have to die. Anyways, that's just really crazy to think about. But still, it's really hard to make a really complex brain into data to do this.
Right. Because how do you know if you're actually taking what you're supposed to be taking?
Right.
You know, how do you know if the person is actually there unless you're that person?
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. They're like, of course there's like things like walking and talking and eating and sleeping that everybody shares. Most people share. That is the same. So they've got that down. But it is the personality aspect and what they know and I already said personality. Memories, and things like that are unique experiences. Because even like you could share a memory with someone, but there's still going to be differences of how you remember something versus how I remember the same event, sitting in different angles, whatever. That was just crazy. But
I can't believe that there's actual this is real life.
This is real life, which made it freakier.
Everything that you've said makes total. I mean, this is not just like junk science.
Right.
Like this is really how people figure out where your brain houses certain functions and things like that. Like, this is
So the last sciencey thing, there was another video of this woman who I should have wrote her name down. She was Russian. And she did like a TED talk about this. So she's talking about how difficult it would be, how many like man hours and so much effort put into mapping a brain and changing it into data. And her thing, this is a little off subject, but it kind of goes with it, is we should stop doing that because it's going to be so difficult and just switch over to AI, like implanting AI, artificial intelligence into us. And the effort should be going to that. And, hold on, there's one of the things that, of course, like being able to extend your life by making you healthy in some way, giving you more energy and whatever by manipulating your brain, like having either an implant or something and being able to download skills into your brain, like playing the piano or downloading like a GPS, like how to get somewhere without using your phone. And she was saying we have a symbiotic relationship with our phone. It's with us all the time and we use it for everything. So it's the same thing. So just by taking this and like popping it in your head, getting direct access to information and abilities and things inside your brain. I thought that
I'm freaking out.
I know. Then one of the things that... Okay, so Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan again. I didn't get to watch all of it, but he was talking about all of this stuff. And he kind of was talking about, like, consciousness uploading and things like that. And he was talking about AI, implanting AI into people who had brain injuries or other sort of things to help them, like, be able to talk without moving their mouths and be able to function because of this AI that's a part of them.
Right.
And one of the things he said that was so crazy, and he said, he was like, this will be a long time before it happens, him talking to Joe Rogan. He's like, but we'll be able to communicate with our devices without even talking out loud. Like with our brain implanted devices. Like I could talk to you, you could talk to me, but nothing like physical happening. And Joe was like, well, how long do you think that'll be? And he was like, I don't know, like 10 years. And Joe was like, that's not long. And he was like, well, I mean, it is kind of long. You see how fast things are. I don't do a very good Elon Musk impersonation, by the way. But he was like, it really is kind of a long time. You see how rapidly things are going. He's like, I could see in about 10 years people being able to communicate that way. And if you think about it, that's what we do with texting. I could text you we could have a whole conversation sitting beside each other without having to physically talk at all.
That's true.
So this would just be kind of like that in our brain. The
next logical step.
Yeah.
Is you don't want to have to use your hands. Just think it.
Just think it.
Think it, blink it.
Yeah. And blink it at each other. You blink it to me, I'll catch it. Blink it back to you, you catch it. But here's where, so he's just talking about like people who like have physical disabilities and things to use it. Mm-hmm. Here's my thought. I was thinking, I have a nonverbal son. Mm-hmm. How amazing would it be to have artificial intelligence on him, in him, whatever. I'm not saying I would do this. I'm just trying to think of, instead of just being automatically, this is horrible. Yeah. Where some people would be like, this is great. Yeah. Like if I could, like Walter could be able to think his thoughts and I could hear them or see them written somewhere. Right. Like that would be so cool.
That'd be life-changing.
And I would be able to hear, like how he feels and what's going on. Like, that would be so amazing. Yeah. But we know we're all sinful people, and we know what good things happen in the hands of sinful people. Yeah. It would go terribly wrong. That's all the sciencey stuff I have right now. I mean,
I loved that.
It was great. It was great. And one of the questions at the end of the last video I wrote, and I don't know why, but I would just like, it made me like, whoa, was the question, like, it wasn't a question, it was more like a thing, like a selling point, was like, extend your life with a consciousness transfer.
He wrote a slogan?
Like that's what it was, that's what they said.
Oh.
The person was like explaining it, then they're like, so, like, they asking all these like rhetorical questions, and one of them was like, so, extend your life with a consciousness transfer. And I was like, extend your life. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Your turn.
Dude. I gotta interact with some of this stuff that you just said because that, like, there's so many, when you said, like, helping people that have damaged brains from, like, traumatic brain injury type of stuff, your initial reaction is like, yes.
Yeah, load them up. Let's do it.
Yeah, like, of course, you want somebody to be able to function throughout their daily lives. Like, there were so many people in the prison who had traumatic brain injuries. Like, that stuff can mess you up. Yeah. And to think that you could have the possibility to just fix that. Right. With a little technology. Yeah. Just fix it on it.
Just a little, yeah. And then if there's any bugs, you just get your doop, 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 doop. Fix
Problem solved.
Problem solved. Do updates in your brain.
See, okay, so why does that seem good? Why does that seem good? And then using it unnecessarily for, like, just communication when we can communicate. Why does that seem bad?
Okay, well, it seems good because you're helping someone who is, you could say, quote unquote, helpless. Right. So it's humanitarian, and it's like, I want to help you have a good, fulfilling life. Yeah. But with the other way of just, like, being able to just, like, use it for ways that aren't necessary, it's not necessary. It's just another way to make us lazy. Another way for us just to not really have to do anything hard.
Right. You're not getting to just a normal functioning person anymore. Right. You're, like, moving beyond that. Yeah. I think maybe that's where I start feeling icky about something. Yeah.
Well, and it takes away, too, because there's so, like, okay, for example, we've been talking to each other weekly via video. I saw you in real life. I started crying. Right. So I feel like that AI and technology would very quickly replace person-to-person contact. And that is so important, and you can't replace that. Yeah. Just like us talking on video week after week could not replace us being together in person, like the feelings.
That's true.
And yeah, and if we take that away, what kind of people, what kind of a society will we have?
Like a robotic
Yeah,
society.
It wouldn't be good. I don't think no one would leave their house. We're already on our way. Getting things delivered here, like, I feel like if we are not careful, and like another thing, artificial intelligence in factories, like things being automated, like we could easily just sit in our room with like a laptop or phone and not have to move an inch if we didn't want to.
Yeah. See that, and so this is where I think that it's important to talk about Christian ethics in technology.
Yes.
Because when I first was thinking about technology, when is it sinful and things like that, I'm automatically going to like pornography.
Oh yeah, that was my first thought too.
Or being addicted to cell phone uses or social media. Mm-hmm. Those are like the big three things that I just thought of, but I didn't think about having to navigate medical advancement,
right.
having to navigate making work easier.
Right.
Or even, when you go down that road, you're thinking, well, we could just replace the whole workforce.
Right.
With machines.
Yeah.
Why would we need a person who's going to screw it up?
Right.
Human error.
Yeah.
And when you go back to think about, like, so maybe this is the easiest example that just occurred to me is workforce being replaced by technology, by machines, robots, whatever. We know that we are created with a purpose to, be working.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to not be working.
Right.
Before the fall, we were told to work. You know what I mean? And we were given tasks to fulfill. And so to think that when we don't have those tasks anymore, out of the sake of, for what reason, really?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I think most people think you don't want to work. That work is a punishment.
Yeah.
And of course we know that it's not, that God created work before the fall of man.
Yeah.
So it's not a sinful thing. It's not a punishment. It's not something, our work is hard because of sin.
Right.
But I think when you don't have that biblical view of what work is, you're trying to get out of it at all times and you hate it. And yeah, if I could, I'm not getting political here, but I'm just saying if I could stay at home and collect unemployment
Sure.
and never ever work, but things are getting taken care of, why would I ever want to work?
Right.
And do anything? Because all of my needs are being met.
Right.
And that is not good for us as a person, as people. That's not good for us.
Okay, so I think that you kind of almost answered a question, or at least started to answer a question that was raised via Twitter. Oh. Which was talking about using, what's the word? What's the medicine you get? Epidurals.
Oh. Uh-huh.
Using epidurals and birthing a child.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Is that...
I know where you're going with that.
Okay. So people said, well, it's just a way to get around the curse. Uh-huh. That God said that woman's pain in childbirth will be multiplied.
Right, yeah.
And so by using an epidural, then you're rebelling. And you're trying to get your way around the curse. And so that made me think of what you were saying, basically about work. Mm-hmm. So we were given work to do, and because of the fall, now work is hard.
Right.
And so lazing around and not working with technology as your aid, of course that would be wrong and sinful.
Right.
But I think that there might be a way to harness technology and work at the same time.
Right.
And just as an aside, with that whole thing about using epidurals and giving birth and things like that, I think there are a lot more pains that go into birthing a baby.
Oh, yeah.
Besides that hour to 12 hours or whatever, how long you have that epidural.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, I'm just going to jump in on that
Please
and then you move on. If you think about things like postpartum depression and things like that, I feel like that is a part of that too.
Oh, yeah.
Because your hormones...
Recovery.
Yeah, recovery, physical recovery, emotional, and your hormones are insane at that time. Yeah. So I feel like that goes along with also, like... It is physically painful, but I think that it could be emotional painful, because people, think something could go wrong with your body,
right.
and I don't know.
I think getting around that curse would be more like what you say, not working at all. It would be not bearing children at all, because you say, no, my life is more important. Not that, like, because you couldn't or something like that.
Saying an obvious choice, I will not have children. I don't ever want to have children.
Right. To
That's
avoid,
a whole man, that could be a whole episode, too.
That's the can.
It really is. Because, what if a Christian's like, I don't want to.
Right.
That's it. I mean, this is an interesting topic. Sorry. I didn't mean to, go off that trail.
No, I think that was perfect, because it really does just open up. You don't, at least for me, I never considered how important Christian ethics was in our modern world.
Right.
Like, you don't think about that. And initially, when I think of someone who avoids technology because of their faith, I immediately go to the Amish.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So do the Amish have it right? I think that there's certainly, just like there's certainly people who say you have to wear certain clothes, and that's why in modern clothing we shouldn't be wearing that because it's not reflective of biblical values or whatever, because this is what the Bible has laid out specifically. Women should only be wearing this type of clothing and whatever. But I read an article on the Amish and how they use, at least this particular group of Amish people, denomination, I guess, of Amish. Is there multiple denominations?
Know. I have no idea.
Another topic to investigate.
Oh, you know what? It would be fun to do an episode on the Amish.
I would love that. We should find an Amish person.
Oh, that would be fun. Would they come here, though, and talk on our
Sure, they're not using it.
Okay.
I have no idea if they would.
I don't know. We'll just start writing letters to the Amish, because we can't email them.
That's true. That would be fun.
That would be a cool episode. Sorry.
No. So just thinking about how they decide what technology they would use is they bring in the whole, or like a group of leaders or like their family or whatever to decide what technology they would use. So for instance, like running gas lines into the house, you would think that sounds great.
Yeah.
Because they could, or like electrical lines, they said gas lines, but for electricity, for like lights.
Right.
And they decided, no, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, why wouldn't you want individual lights in individual rooms? And their reasoning was, well, that means then everybody would be going to their own rooms during reading time in the evening, and we wouldn't be gathered together, reading together. Okay. And that was their decision.
That kind of makes sense.
It makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
So I appreciate their approach.
Right.
For that. Now, I might not, I would just say, we could just turn all the lights off in the other room and gather everybody into the living room.
Right. Yeah.
But it definitely would be.
Let's go in here.
Right. But it would definitely be more tempting to say, well, I have my own room, you have your own room, and we can all do our individual devotionals to get alone. And but
that's interesting.
I thought that was good. That was a good way to investigate, should we be adapting this technology to our lives?
Can I just say, I wouldn't mind being a little Amish.
Sure, me either.
It
sounds simpler.
It does. I want to do that.
See, there's something to be said about being able to, use your physical body to accomplish something.
Okay, smashing up the barn.
Perfect example.
Having a garden. It feels so good to be out there smashing stuff, building stuff, whatever.
So does that mean that we're too far now? So are some jobs, because, not all jobs are replaced with automated machines and things like that. Yeah. But with technology taking away maybe some of the more physical, more laborious things of the job, obviously, the world is big. There's more people on the earth than at the beginning. We have to supply food for millions of people. Yeah. And so, you probably, if for the limited amount of farms and farmers, you definitely need some kind of support. Unless more people are going to be farming.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. Do we have less farming because of technology? There are other things that are happening. Replacing the farmers.
It's a good thought. Interesting.
We are so, all over.
I know, but
it is good. It's a good thing. It opens up a lot of things. This is good.
I would never, because you don't think of yourself as being too far. Because you're just born into this age. You know what I mean? True. So you don't think of, well, computers are too far.
Right.
Podcasts are too far.
Right.
You don't think of it that way because it's just...
Well, and ask a teenager and smartphones. You know, they would never say smartphones were too far. I mean, there was a time I had a phone. It was a flip phone. Nothing was smart about it. You made a call and that was it.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? But, like, these are teenagers and young people's lives. My life,
it's getting younger and younger every year.
Well, yeah. You want to talk about it?
Let's talk about it.
Okay. You talk about it. You send it to me, and so you go.
There was an extremely, extremely long article written by a psychologist, and he was referencing lots of other doctors and psychologists, talking about children, teens, and he threw in some, like, adult stuff, but mostly focusing on children and teens' use of phones, of social media, of screens of all types, of computers, and he was talking about the implicit dangers. Not just, you know, the explicit of, like, you might find really inappropriate things on the internet if you're not watching your kids, but the implicit dangers of being on social media. One of those, I think, is pretty obvious now, and especially after I read this article, was the higher rate of, like, self-harm. I don't remember hearing about such young kids ending their own lives.
Sorry, we touched feet.
Ending their own lives, but I've seen that so much.
When you see, like, 8 and 10-year-olds.
Right.
I'm like, how do you know how to kill yourself at 8 and 10 years old?
But that article, it made sense. Because younger and younger kids are getting smartphones. Younger and younger kids are allowed to go on social media. And they also presented information of, gosh, what did they call it? It was like persuasive technology or something like that. But
yeah, it was persuasive. Because that was like the name of a company, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It was like
maybe
something persuasive technologies or something.
And it was all about how to make somebody basically stay on the internet or stay on their website for as long as possible by timing rewards that you get. You get to time the notifications when those notifications pop up. You get to, when you notice, they could notice if somebody was having an off day. They could notice if someone was feeling down, and so then they could reward them by sending them, oh, look, somebody liked your picture. Yeah. Or, oh, look, you know, this is, you know, something to boost their self-esteem.
Yeah.
And so then their whole brain, like, this is the same way that drugs work. You think of methamphetamine being, like, one of the strongest drugs that people just have the hardest time getting away from. It's because the dopamine that is released in your brain when you're using methamphetamines is, like, so much higher than any naturally occurring kind of dopamine that you would experience. You know, like when you hug your husband, like, you have dopamine release, and that is good. But when you do meth, there's, like, just an exponentially larger amount of dopamine being released. And so your brain just gets more desensitized to that, and it uses other locations in your brain to try to flood dopamine again. So basically, when these people are coming down from the drugs, their brain needs to fire them back up, you know what I mean? And so when they search out that meth, and then they get it, like, more of their brain is using. So it's the same way, is what I'm trying to say. Same way for social media. When you get the dopamine release of somebody likes me, somebody's paying attention to me, I feel good about this, and then you don't get that other places anymore. You don't get that from your mom saying, hey, you did a really great job on this thing, or whatever. You're getting it from social media only, because your brain it's a thing called plasticity, and your brain can reorient and reconnect things, and then you're just sucked on to social media only for any source of joy. And so you think about that happening to developing brains, and you think about how companies can use that to their own monetary advancement. Like, their goal is to keep you on a site for as long as possible. And that's what it said in the article. I was like, if they want to keep you literally on the internet every waking hour.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think in that same article, unless it was something else I read, they were talking about a company was like, give your customer an extra shot of dopamine or whatever by implementing these things that we tell you or whatever for your site, and get 30% more gain 30% more money for whatever, because they'll tell you they're using from a psychological standpoint. They've studied how humans what they want.
Yep.
And they've translated it into some sort of like digital world.
Yep.
And that's just crazy. And what's crazy is this, there's never been another time like this.
Yeah.
Of where something digital and inanimate and not real, that we're just like, we need it.
Somebody can know how the human brain functions so intricately that they can influence and control you from miles and miles away.
Yeah. And you have no idea.
Yeah.
One of the things I read, and this was just so silly, just a small thing that Facebook did, like long time ago, was a notification would pop up and it would be blue, like the Facebook color blue. But then they realized people weren't as excited about it. That's when they changed it to red. And when they changed it to red, the notification popping up to red, then everyone's like, I gotta click on it. And then you see Apple does that too. It's a red notification. That red color, they figured it out that people are more drawn to click on the red the hearts, all that stuff, It's really messed up and really weird. And also I kind of hate that I'm so predictable. It's like we're all the same in that aspect, that like that human nature, we want to feel good and happy and loved and, excited and be likable.
Right.
Like those are just, everybody wants those things.
Everybody's Michael Scott.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that. I want to be liked. I need to be liked. Right. Yeah. And you know what's crazy too is that like I said, there's never been a time like this. So we have really no idea what it's doing to children.
Yeah.
Because it's so new. I mean, I think in that article, we're seeing it in behaviors, like towards parents that are violent sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things they're talking about too is like teenagers, like in that weird hormonal time of their lives, or they're already experienced crazy things there, but then add video games and social media to it, affects boys and girls differently.
Yep.
But then they made a point, which I didn't even think about, growth spurts. So you have a 17-year-old guy living, your teenager who could be way taller and bigger than you at that point because he's a guy. I mean, he's turning into a man.
Yep.
And how he could just manhandle his parents.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because what is he going to do to anybody else in this world when he doesn't get his way?
Yep. And that goes back to, with boys, they're more focused on the video games or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they made a connection for me that I had never realized of, you play a video game that's kind of like reality, but not, super far-fetched. Things that you can actually accomplish and that you might want to accomplish similar things in real life. And so when you accomplish those things in the video games, like, you get that dopamine release.
Yeah.
And so then you don't go through the natural developments of a child or middle school or high school or whatever, where you try to, like, figure out life, how to do things in a responsible way and how to take care of yourself, because you're doing a great job in your video game.
Right.
So you don't learn any of real life skills, and you're just hooked on a video game because it tells you that you're doing pretty good.
Right.
You're good at this.
Yeah.
Why would you waste your time trying to be good at something else? You're already good at video games.
Right. Well, and then with the girls, it was the social aspect of it, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And so pretty much kind of like blowing off people. Like, I don't want anything to do with social, real life, face-to-face interaction. Right. It's just too awkward. That's awkward. And that bothers me because we're made to be around people. Like, God made us that way to like have fellowship with other people. Mm-hmm. And we need each other. Like the body of Christ working together. And I feel like it's just strange. Like, we're not even developing real social skills if we're just like, no, thank you. I don't want to talk to you in real life. I'll text you. We'll text all day long. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. That just feels like you're going to have a hard time being a successful adult. And by successful, I mean like functioning adult. Mm-hmm. Like in the workforce, when you have to like customer service, you have to talk to people face to face. But like, are you going to be terrified 26 years old to talk to anybody because you never have?
Let me jump in there because it's me.
Me.
Yes. No, I am that person. It's hard. When I think I got my cell phone it was right when I started having like band competitions, and we would be out all night. And so my mom was like, "You have to have a cell phone because I'm not going to wait up all night for you. I need you to call me so I can come pick you up." So it had to have been like, I don't know, 14. And that just opened the door to text messaging. I'm already, I think by nature, a quiet person. And so when you say, well, you don't really have to use your words to communicate or body language.
Right.
Or look anybody in the eyeball. Yeah. You can just use this phone. And think about how, you can take 10 minutes to think of a response.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. And that has affected me into my adult years. I hate calling people on the phone. I hate calling to like pay bills. I hate it.
Oh, yeah, I do hate that too.
But how much? I mean, that's a skill you have to have.
Right.
You gotta call people to pay your bills sometimes. Yeah. You gotta call people when, your kid's in therapy and they need to figure out because everything was isolated. And now you gotta figure out if you're gonna...
Well, see, yeah, like, you could be like, well, I'll just do automated bill pay. Or whatever. Like, I can see people making that argument, well, I'll just do this. But then when your life isn't exactly cookie cutter and you have to make hard phone calls or make appointments or whatever where you have to talk to someone, I think you'll fall to pieces. I feel like I know some people, not you. I feel like there's people who are adults, 30s, and who will freak out over the slightest thing. And it's like, you better hope nothing bad happens to you where you have to talk to someone or something difficult or confusing, because you're going to just fall to pieces. You won't be able to make it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and this goes back to being able to like comfort the body of Christ too. Like, how hard is it to comfort somebody from so far away? Like you just talked about it, when you get to hug somebody, and you get to sit next to somebody, and you don't have to like have a constant flow of information or like no information. Right. You can avoid any awkwardness by cutting off contact because you're waiting on a text message or whatever. Right. Like, those are skills that we need to have for real life problems. Yeah. Like, real life suffering happens, and we have to be able to function and help other people. Yeah. We want other people to be able to help us. Right. Yeah. I mean, I would say that counselors, they are trained to learn how to like listen to people. And I think that people probably go to counselors because nobody knows how to listen to anybody. Right. Yeah. Like, they're not even supposed to be giving advice. They literally just listen to you and, like, take you through some whatever, discipline they are focusing on, their theory or whatever. But it's most popular now is you don't even listen. You don't even give advice. You just listen to somebody. You pay people to listen to you. That's interesting. Like, this is scary. It's scary because, not that I'm like frightened, but it's scary because you don't realize how much technology has hindered your own ability to just be human. Right. And you don't want to feel like you're, okay, well, now I have to throw all my technology out the window. Right. Yeah. Because some now technology is necessary. Yeah. I think it goes back to, we just readily accept whatever will make life easier, whatever seems good, whatever, and we don't weigh the options like these Amish families do. Yes. You know what, I think God just laid it on my heart. I never think about like my actions or anything. I just pick up my phone and it's like kind of brainless sometimes. Yeah. Only thing I'll really like think about is if I'm commenting on something, but I never think, what's going to flash before my eyes mindlessly scrolling on Instagram? It could be something that I didn't want to see. I never once, before I get on the computer, before I get on my phone, think, how am I going to glorify God with what I'm about to do on this? Right. I just pick it up and do it. And the second thought, should we get lights in every single room? Well, no, because of this. We don't think about those things those details about when we use technology, when we get on a computer. It's just so, we've readily accepted it. So we'll just jump on and just go with it. Yep. Yeah. I mean, I know there's many times where I don't take that seriously. Yeah. Like, if I went home today and talked to Paul and I was like, I really want to talk to you about, like, every time I use my phone, like, if it's good and things like that, he'd probably be like, are you okay? Like, calm down. Because this is not something that I'm like, this is a big issue, or this is serious. Yeah. And so, of course, he would be like, this is way out of left field because what are you even, like,
Right.
talking about right now? But yeah, like, this is serious stuff.
Yeah.
Something as simple as just picking up your phone
Yeah.
and scrolling through, that's serious stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed this conversation.
It's so fun. Like, really fun.
I only wish that the coffee shop was open on the way here because
Oh,
I really
was it
wanted to
open?
get some Highlander grog lattes.
Oh, that's all
Darn
right.
coronavirus.
What time they close?
I don't know. They probably close at like before 9.
Okay, because the coronavirus
Nobody's going to be hanging
comes
out.
out after
Oh.
dark.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, the coronavirus comes after dark.
Yeah, so we can go out during the day, but,
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
if it's 9 o'clock, coronavirus is all over the street.
No, yeah, you got to board up the doors and windows. This world's crazy right now.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if it'll ever get back to normal. At least before it was. I don't know if it will.
I don't know either.
We'll just use those same slogans that everybody uses. The new normal.
I seriously, someone like tweeted.
These uncertain times.
And, yeah, someone was like, please stop saying new normal. And I would just started dying and I was like, yes. It's like when someone comes up with a phrase and everyone's like, that's good. Let's use that till we die. Like, if, like, here, stay home, stay safe, or stay whatever way it is. It's just
Written
like
on your tombstone.
seriously.
Looking forward to the new normal.
My new normal.
Yes.
Or like,
Quite
stay
literally.
home, stay safe. It's like, yeah, okay, like, whoever made that up, good job.
We get it.
We get it. It's everywhere. Stop putting it on your signs. Stop saying it at the end of videos. Like, that sounds so cynical and so mean, but I think that's just, I'm just burnt out. Burnt out on
I think
coronavirus.
we all are. It's gone on too long.
Yeah, it is.
Well, if you enjoyed this rambling of technology and
I
ethics.
did.
Me too.
It was so fun.
Please subscribe, comment, tell us what your thoughts.
Your voice got so high. Please.
This is my friendly voice. I put it on for
like it.
phone calls.
Oh, this is your phone call voice.
My phone call voice. So if you like this episode, make sure to subscribe, like, rate, comment. Tell us what you think about technology in heaven. Will it be there? Technology now. Have we gone too far?
Oh, this is good.
Thank you.
This is good.
I
This is
deserve to be on the radio.
Yeah, this is radio.
And follow us on our Instagram page at Women of the Table. Did you know that we are doing a giveaway?
Yes.
We're
I
giving
did.
away 6 books, I think.
Why did I answer you? Yes, I did.
It deserved an answer.
Yeah.
I think everybody answered
Yeah. And coffee,
as
right?
enthusiastically as you
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
And coffee,
And coffee.
from our very own Ellettsville, Indiana, just right down the road.
Not very far. Right before Bloomington, if you're going the way that we go.
Just in case you need to know. So go there, follow the instructions to win, and there will be one providentially chosen winner.
God knows.
That might be you.
Might be you. We don't know. The Lord knows.
That's right. And that's all, folks. That's all we got.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Goodbye.